Hello, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Razovy, and today we're going to talk about Black Lagoon. Now, you're watching the Razovy Revive channel, which means that you're listening to a podcast. The visuals on the screen, they don't really matter all that much. Feel free to look at them. It's a couple of GIFs that I constantly switch from. Like, I think I'll use like 3 or 4 GIFs in total. So if you like that kind of stuff, look at them. But I think that for most people, the listening part is way more important. Now, just go do something else. Don't feel bad about that. Just keep on listening to my voice and do something else while listening to this. That is the whole purpose of this video. So like I said, today we're going to talk about Black Lagoon. And I just want to welcome you to this video. So hello, welcome. Say hi in the comments or something so that I know that you're watching. And Black Lagoon is actually one of my favorite anime of all time. Now, if you go to my AnyList profile, which I'll probably link in like the pinned comment or something, or I'll put it in the description or something. And if you go to my AnyList profile, you'll see that it's actually in my favorites list because I really enjoy this anime. It's actually I think that it's definitely my top 10. And not the whole anime, and I will talk about that later in this video. Why not the whole anime is like my favorite, but especially like the first arc is probably it's definitely in the top 10. It's a crazy good show, and if you haven't watched Black Lagoon yet, I advise you just pause this video and go watch Black Lagoon instead of listening to this because it's really really good. Now, what is Black Lagoon? What is it about? Why would you need to watch it? Let's go and find that out. Well, first of all, the story starts out, episode 1. We are actually in the middle of a hostage situation, actually. Our main protagonist is called Rokuro, a Japanese businessman, a salaryman. He's actually on a ship, and the ship is actually taken over by like these modern day pirates, bounty hunters, mercenaries, whatever you want to call them. And they're actually looking for a special disc. And guess what? Who has this disc? That is Rokuro. So he hands over the disc, and instead of being left alone, he's actually taken hostage by these modern day pirates, basically mercenaries, whatever you want to call them. So he's taken hostage, and he's taken with them to the mainland, basically, which is problematic, of course, because the rest of the crew is left alone. So that kind of sucks for him. He has to now go with them and do whatever they say. It turns out that he's actually taken hostage by our other main protagonist, basically. Actually, the boss of the bunch was called Dutch, Revi, and Benny. They are the 3 other main protagonists besides Rokuro. And he's taken hostage by them. And they actually, at first, they don't really treat him all that well. Dutch and Benny are nice to Rokuro, but Revi, she doesn't really like him. And she actually hits him and kicks him and belittles him. And so, they're not off to a good start. But like for me personally, Revi is my favorite character of the show, but we'll talk about that later. So he's taken ashore. And there he is, he has to go with them. He meets the basically like the boss, so not Dutch, but like the person that kind of provides work for these modern day mercenaries. And it turns out that the company that Rokuro works for, they don't really care about Rokuro at all. So they just proclaim him dead, even though he's not dead. And they just want to, be done with it. They don't want to, get Rokuro back or, take him back to Japan. They don't care. They just proclaim him to be dead, and that's it. So Rokuro decides to join these people. He decides to join these mercenaries. It's from that point on. This is all episode 1, by the way. It's from that point on that the story truly starts. And they really, like these 4 people, they really get into crazy situations sometimes. But that's the main reason to why Rokuro now belongs to a mercenary group. Now, they start calling him Rock instead of Rokuro because, it's kind of like his new name now. Because his old way of life, he died in his old way of life, so he can now adopt a new name. And Dutch, the leader of the bunch, he gives him the name Rock. So together they actually go and fight for real, I'm not kidding you. They fight Nazis to retrieve like these very special paintings, and they have to also fight these really weird twins that are like serial killers, and they get into all kinds of weird situations, and it's such a cool show. Also, the characters that the side characters, basically, they're also very likable. Not because they're good people, because they're not good people at all. All of them are criminals, but they are recurring characters. And when you have recurring characters, they have to be written well. You have to like them in some way or form. Even if they're not good people, you still have to like them. They need to be likable in some way or form, and they are. For example, there's the bartender who's called Bao, and every time that these four people, right, Dutch, Benny, Revy, and Rock, when they visit his bar, his whole bar is basically blown to pieces because of something that they did. So as you can imagine, Bao doesn't really like these four people. There's also, for example, Ida, who works for a church, but from this church, she actually has this whole ring set up where she makes a lot of money by doing illegal stuff. There's just a lot of interesting and cool characters that are, recurring characters that are just really, really interesting. And this anime is all action and violence and shooting, but if you like that stuff, and I do, it's not something that I always tend to watch, or something that I really, really enjoy all the time. But especially with this anime, it's so freaking cool. Now, not everything about this anime is good. For example, like I said, the first arc is really good in my opinion. So when we meet the Nazis, right, and when we meet the weird twins and those storylines, because it's very creative, but it makes sense that it's happening, and it's a very cool. The ideas that they use are very cool, right? But the part that I like a little less is the arc when we're mainly focusing on Roberta. Now, I'm not going to talk about this too much because that would be spoiler territory, and I'm not going to spoil this for you because that would not be fun. But I think at some point we meet this woman called Roberta. She's a maid to a very rich boy, and this boy is kidnapped. Now, she's like a fighting machine. It's crazy. She's able to do things that are just ridiculously overpowered. And that in and of itself is really cool, because she seems like a really nice person, and she is a nice person. But once her master is kidnapped, the young boy, she goes completely nuts, and she turns into this lone wolf soldier that just kills, thousands of people and stuff. And we know that Revy is capable of doing stuff like that, because Revy is absolutely crazy. That's also why I like Revy so much, because she's absolutely crazy, and she lived quite the life, and most of it was horrible, but that made her into the woman that she is today. But with Roberta, although the first part of the Roberta arc is very interesting, it's called Roberta's Blood Trail, this arc. It's really cool, for real. I mean that, it's not bad at all. But once certain things happen in Roberta's Blood Trail in that arc, it becomes a little bit too much. It drags out for too long. I feel like the Roberta Blood Trail arc could have been knocked out in like 2 or 3 episodes, and it took way longer than that, and that's a shame, because what I liked so much about Black Lagoon at first is that most of the episodes, most of the arcs, like with the Nazis and with the weird twins and stuff, it's 2-3 episode tops, and then they go to a different story, right? This team of 4 people, they get into a new hijinks and they do new stuff, and that is what I liked so much about it. But with Roberta's Blood Trail, this arc is so long, and that's not, at least in my opinion, right? That's not what this show should be about. So for me, that was a little bit too much, or at least too long. That's how I should put it. It took too long. But other than that, though, it's incredibly good. For example, Black Lagoon also has an omake, which is like extra funny episodes, and they are so good. Like I actually laughed out loud multiple times when I watched the omake episodes, and don't get me wrong, I do like comedy stuff, but I don't easily laugh out loud. I smile easily, sure, but I don't laugh out loud like ha 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 funny, right? But with this, it actually happened. I really enjoyed the omake episodes, especially when the characters switch gender. So the guys become girls and the girls become guys. That's a really funny episode as well. So yeah, Black Lagoon is definitely worth the watch. Even if you're not really into the action stuff, at least the first arc will definitely be for you. And who knows, maybe you actually do really like the Roberta Bloodthrill arc. It can happen. Why not? Also, the voice acting is absolutely amazing. Also in English, by the way. I watch anime in Japanese without subtitles. I don't know if the subtitles are good. I'm assuming they are. I mean, I'm assuming that the fan translations are okay. Most of the times they are. But I have never watched the show with subtitles, so I cannot say anything about that. But I'm assuming the subtitle version is good. However, the voice acting in Japanese is absolutely amazing. I also watched Black Lagoon. I actually twice. I watched Black Lagoon 3 times. Once in Japanese and twice in English. And I barely watch dub. Like, for real, I don't really watch dub. But in this case, I rewatched Black Lagoon twice, and both of those times was in English. Because the voice acting, it makes sense that these characters are speaking English. And most of the times when you're watching an anime, it's always centered around Japanese culture. It's taking place in Japan. So it makes sense that these characters will speak Japanese, right? That's very logical. But since this is not taking place in Japan, and most of the characters that we meet are all international, right? We meet people from Thailand, people from China, people from America. So it makes sense that these characters are talking or are speaking in English, right? And also the voice acting in English is very good. Something that, again, my opinion, but I don't really like English voice acting most of the times. Not when it comes to anime, at least. So, even if you're a big dub fan, skip the subbed version. I don't think you're missing out. Don't get me wrong, the Japanese voice acting is on par with the English voice acting. But most of the times, it's the other way around, right? The Japanese voice acting is the best, and then the English voice acting is most of the times doable, right? But in this case, it's amazing. It's just as good as Japanese voice acting. So if you are a dub watcher, or if you want to try out a dub, anime and dubbed, if that's something that you would like to try, then Black Lagoon is definitely an option. Like, it's a very valid option to use that as a stepping stone towards watching anime dubbed. Definitely, 100%. Now, I'm very curious, actually. Have you guys ever watched Black Lagoon? Do you share my opinion about Black Lagoon, or not at all? Is it something that you didn't enjoy, or are you thinking about trying it, but do you need a little bit more convincing from other people, maybe in the comment section? I would actually like to ask you guys to comment down below, your findings, your opinions. Talk about this anime, because me just talking about, giving my own opinion is something that I enjoy. Sure, that's why I make these videos, but I would also like to see your opinions, interact with you guys, talk about this anime, because I'm very passionate about Black Lagoon. I'm very passionate about anime in general, so make sure to comment down below. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the video. I just want to thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, like this video, that helps me out a ton. That helps me out more than donating to this channel. That's how much liking a video helps a content creator. So make sure to do so. And I just want to thank you guys for watching. Ladies and gentlemen, I was Razovy. You were you. And I will see you guys later. Goodbye.